During my stays in a place like Big Bend National Park, I continue to try to stay hydrated by using the foods themselves to carry out that task. Here on the day that I'm recording this, it's actually 90 plus degrees outside, but the weather has varied here quite drastically for the short period of time that I've been in this park. The music that you heard a little bit earlier in this video was from a passing by vehicle, and that was after the 3-second countdown that it took to begin recording the sound around me. I was trying to demonstrate that for some reason people are driving through here with stereos full blast and modified exhaust systems that are absolutely destroying the peace and splendor of this type of an area. Recently, someone commented to me privately that I sounded like a podcaster on my channel. They were saying this about the gang stalker video that I recently had uploaded. Also recently, I've had several marvelous encounters, chance encounters, with people that I wouldn't have ever guessed I was going to be meeting up with. One such couple invited me to breakfast and then dinner, where we talked about different things we find in the park. The number 3 thing for me is definitely not that headphone that you see, but the flossing stick that you saw just a few moments earlier in this video. In this case, I'm walking towards a shiny object, wondering if I'm seeing another mylar balloon in the national park. Sometimes, if the path allows for me to do it, I'll remove the debris from these parks. I even had the opportunity to house sit at a house that was on BLM land, and that particular house had slopes such as this, where the cactus caught up all kinds of mylar balloons that I had to remove from that property. Well, I guess I didn't have to, but I wanted to. So I don't think you can see it in this video screen, but there was something exceptionally shiny up on that hill. It's very odd because with my binoculars it looks like it had a design on it. Okay, so here's what it was. It's the bottom of a plant that died, or is in the process of dying. Anyway, it got me almost to the top of this hill. So I guess we might as well take a look before going back down. Recently, a loved one contacted me to tell me that they were not doing too great in terms of physical and mental conditions due to overwhelming situations that were being faced. And one of the things that I was thinking was that maybe we're all facing our own self-designed mountains, so to speak, and some of us are not pacing ourselves properly, and it seems like for some it's a mad rush to the finish line. For me, it's a slow, gentle incline at a controlled interval. See, more evidence. I think you can see that. There you go. More evidence that that canyon might be conducive to life throughout eons, or at least decades. If you saw my previous videos, you know that I'd injured my foot by performing a move that I wasn't capable of doing because I also wasn't in a mental place of readiness. In this clip, you see that I'm actively recovering from this said injury by basically performing a number of maneuvers with my foot. I'm using my foot as best as I can in terrain that is varied, not just on flat, paved, smooth, grippy surfaces. I'm activating all my tendons in my feet while I'm walking in the barest of footwear, and by that I mean in sandals. And I'm also enjoying the scenery around me and sharing that with you on this day. So the easier way back into the wash after that climb would have been the right-hand side, but I came up the left-hand side. And so I'm gonna have to stay up high a little bit before maybe being able to get back into the wash. Look at this beauty here. Wow. Look at this massive piece of petrified wood. So I found a way back down into the wash that was pretty easy, and it was right by this super shiny material, which again is pretty much the same plant that you saw back there. That this material is not shining for you on the camera, but that I told you was shining. What I'm attempting to say in this clip is that the same type of vegetation that led us to the point where we were able to see this wash is the same type of vegetation that was shining in the wash itself, as if to beckon us on a little bit further to see what else we would see on this fine day. I guess you'll just have to take my word for it that that thing is so reflective. But that's what set us on this walk today. Look at this neat formation. Look at the neat geological insight that we're being shown. We're literally walking in the past and walking alongside smaller, at this point, much smaller ancestors. Haven't seen any bear tracks or scat like we did the other day, but stay tuned. Let's see what this leads to. You can see in the washes these larger growths, the larger vegetation, and you can understand how the funneled water is so important over the course of time to the things that are still here. You can also see that despite all of it, here's some larger footprints. Something large that jumped across, possibly. I just heard a sound up ahead, right where we're facing, up ahead to the left. Anyway, what I'm saying is that even though you can see all these plants right here and things that are surviving, you would definitely not say they're thriving. None of the plants, even at the lower elevation, have very much in the way of fruit on them. So you can tell our animals are having to compete vigorously for food. Here you see some much older poop. Over and over, if you pay attention throughout this video, you'll notice this formation off in the distance, Santa Elena Canyon. This canyon is very near to my campsite for this duration of the trip. Something you don't see every day. Here what I'm trying to show you is this speck of light inside of a canyon, or I should say on the side of a bluff, but inside of this crevice is a speck of light. It almost looks like an eye staring at you. Isn't it creepy? The signs of life were scant, but still present in these areas that are clearly challenged by environmental factors. Do you all also notice that this cactus appears to have bloomed in the short amount of time it took for us to return from this short walk? My foot was feeling really limbered up by now, and I saw this beautiful sight that I wanted to share, and I hope that you get the time to enjoy it with me right now. continued to inundate my body with as many varied nutrients as possible while also taking on sights such as this. And this. In my soul, I feel that every time I see resurrection plants, I'm in a very special place. For those watching this on a large screen format, you're seeing some little bugs doing a dance over a prominent rock in the foreground. And for those who are just watching this video on a small screen, especially a small screen that's not aligned horizontally, then you're also missing a part of the picture. For my ailing loved ones, I hope that you are able to enjoy a moment of solitude, even if it's just a virtual moment in a place like, for an example, where I'm at right now at a roadside, both adding to and also sharing the sounds that come from Big Bend National Park. While I can't describe the sounds of this sunset, I can say that it was quite a bit more silent than it had been in years past, when this place was thriving with insect life, vegetation, and everything that corresponds with that type of a rich habitat. After talking with a loved one about their problems and sympathizing, I found that I was met with wasps in my tent. Well, actually, under the rainfly of the tent from that day forward. I wasn't quite sure what that meant, but it seemed like one of those little synchronicities. I treated myself regularly to the infrequent but potent form of flowing fresh water and being in its presence to help restore myself. By infrequent, what I mean is that many of us do not frequently get to take in this kind of a sight regularly. If this were a podcast, I would probably try to find a way to diminish the fact that someone threw a whole bag of trash in a Trader Joe bag inside of that propane canisters only basket. And at the same time, I find that just as offensive as walking through this desert scene and showing you a can in the desert, and then believing if I go not too much further, I might find another can. And in fact, I already see one, and I'm going to walk us towards this can and tell you that if this were a podcast, I would be talking about these things and finding a way to diminish their harsh reality. At the same time, what if that harsh reality is so compelling that we need to do something together in order to at least mitigate the worst of what we could avoid enduring if we actually came together to do something thoughtfully and collectively? Then maybe my podcast would be still just as unpopular as this channel already is, both now and in the past, during the era of, when people would come out and throw beer cans all out throughout the desert, I should say, and for no good reason other than trying to keep something hidden. Because why wouldn't these people carry their beer cans back?